Hello. So I'm back, but this time I'm at my room, and you know so yeah, like I said, these people are pretty crazy. Um I don't like them, and they are already getting what they get, literally, like as we speak. But the thing is that the personality trait that God has, because I'm not just like talking to you from like just like talking, reading the Bible, but like I know him. Like we all should have consciousness, like a voice, a literal voice in our head that tells us what to do, you know? Because one example that I like to say is that um, our body is a machine, and the brain is like, I don't know, the brain is like, it's something. There's a machine, the brain is like a software on how to run the machine. But the consciousness is a software, McAfee, your firewall. I mean, it's your everything. It's your hard drive. It's your backup. Um, it's your junk drive. It's your USB. It's like so many things. It could store information. It could give information. It could take. It's like so many things that your consciousness is, and I don't remember what the point is. But the consciousness tells you certain things, and God, his personality, he does not like to be rushed at all, because the thing is that time does not exist for us humans living here in this experience. We believe that time is real, but time is an illusion. Excuse me. It is an illusion, not figuratively speaking, but like literally, it is an illusion. It only matters to us, just to us. But to God, it doesn't matter because there is no such thing as time. He just invented that specifically for us. Okay? Now, with that being said, God does not like it when people rush him. He hates it. And I mean, that's not something that the Bible really says, but that's something that I know that you know sorry, I'm watching this thing. Um I do apologize. The thing is that God does not like to be rushed. He hates being rushed, and you have to just take your time. The way that he works with every, like when you look at the Bible, he always kind of like keeps the same theme within the Bible. Okay? And whenever you read the Bible, it's always the same kind of like theme. It's a person. It's always a person or like a group, but usually it's one, because the reason why God picks one is because people can't really handle God's glory. I guess it's like they say it's overwhelming, in which it is. Because when I kind of like first started hearing, hearing the voice of the consciousness, the spirit, God, whatever, um, I my stomach would hurt and I would have diarrhea every single time. Can you imagine? And it's like my stomach would always hurt, and he would say, "It's okay. In a few weeks or months, you're gonna get used to it, and we're gonna talk, and nothing's gonna happen." And a year later, we could talk, we could communicate, like we do all types of things, and I never get that feeling anymore unless I'm learning something new, like a new power or new skill or something. Um, for some reason, that always kind of like makes me a bit sick. But other than that, the only times I would really get sick is when I first was speaking to God. So a lot of people don't want to kind of like communicate with God or consciousness because they it's too overwhelming. Even with Moses, the people didn't want to talk to God. They were like, God, we don't want to talk to him because he looks too majestic. You do it. And it was always from that day. It was always like one person. Even with Jesus, there was Jesus, then there was disciples. There was Paul, then there was, you know what I mean? Like he always does like one person because it's kind of like overwhelming to people. But it doesn't have to be like that because that's why Jesus Christ died for our sins, so that everyone could be that person. And unfortunately, it still is not like that. But that's why I always try to help targeted individuals to speak to the voice because you're being targeted. Being targeted is like being hunted down through a maze. If you don't have a GPS to get through that maze, you're gonna die. Okay, and that's literally the analogy. If you don't have the consciousness in this gang stalking thing, you're not gonna survive this thing because these people are crazy and they're cutthroat, and you don't know what's going on. You know, to you, you're just seeing all this betrayal and all this backstabbing and things that you can't understand. But it's a game. When you play a game, you don't get mad because bitch, we're playing a game. You know, it's a game. Um, Again, God does not like to be rushed. He will do every single thing that he says he's gonna do. He gives you a promise. He gave it to fucking Abraham. Look at this. I'm gonna pick two stories. I'm gonna pick two stories out of the Bible. I'm gonna pick three. I'm gonna pick three stories out of the Bible and show you how God always comes late because the term fashionably late did not come from the fashion industry. It was from God. God had been fashionably late so many fucking times it don't even make sense. You know? Okay, Abraham. Abraham probably was like 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old. And God told him he gonna have a son. This nigga ended up having a son when he's 30 years old. Now, let's ask ourselves this question. Just because God gave Abraham the baby at 100 and not 70, does that make God a liar? No. The truth is, to Abraham, I'm an old man and I'm 100 years old. To God, there is no such thing as time. You understand what I'm saying? He don't care that Sarah old as fuck. He's the maker. He creates things. You understand what I'm saying? The creator, he could change the game. The rules don't really. There is no rules. The rules is there is no rules. That's the rules. There is no rules. There's no such thing as I can't fly. There's no such thing as I can't have powers. The thing is, that's what we're told. These humans that are gang stalking us did not create our bodies. They don't know, and they're trying to figure it out themselves. The one who created us, told me, told Jesus, told the disciples, told the apostles that they have abilities. Who are you going to believe? God or these gang stalkers? You're going to believe God. Same thing. Now let me go with another story. Other than Abraham. Okay, you got Joseph. Joseph ain't do nothing. You want to talk about being gang stalked by a family, bitch? Joseph family motherfucking tried to murder him. Okay, and they sold him into slavery. Isn't that what happened to us? Weren't we given to be murdered with some life insurance money? And aren't we sold into slavery anyway? And guess what? Joseph had went to jail for doing the right thing. And Joseph was in jail for a while, like 5, 10 years probably. But guess what? Just because it took a long time for God to make Joseph the right hand man to the king and save his fucking family's ass after they fucking tried to murder him, does not mean that God ain't come through and that God's a liar. That is the pattern that God has. The gang stalkers have a pattern. God has a pattern. You see, these people, they choose to believe that God is not real. The same way that you could figure out that you're being gang stalked by looking at the patterns is the same way that you can figure out God's patterns. You understand? And he always comes late. Even Jesus come late. There was a story with Lazarus. Motherfucking Mary Magdalene. I don't remember her last name. Mary, you know, her brother was Lazarus. And Mary had wrote Jesus, so she sent a messenger. She said, "My brother's sick, and I need you to come here within like a day or two because I think he's gonna die." Jesus took the long way. Jesus took the fucking long way. Like, like Jesus. I wrote you that it's an emergency, and you're gonna take the long way. What are you doing? You know? And he was late. He was so late that Lazarus was dead for 3 days. Bitch, what? I don't even know if it was 3 days, but it was days. This nigga was dead. This nigga was stinking. Like he was dead. And like Jesus show up. Mary like, what are you doing? And he like, what do you mean? I'm here to save the guy. She's like, bitch, he dead, and he been dead for 3 fucking days. I told your ass to come fast, and bitch, here you is now. And like, Jesus raised him from the dead. You understand? The thing is, Jesus could have came before he died. Jesus could have came the day he died. Jesus could have came the day after. This nigga came 3 fucking days, bro, or maybe more. You understand what I'm saying? It's it's their signature. The late is their signature. You understand what I'm saying? Even with the Israelites, God could have had the motherfucking Red Sea opened, and when they were walking, they would have been like, "Oh shit, the Red Sea open. Let's hurry up and go through this bitch." But the Red Sea was chilling. Everything was a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and then the Pharaoh want to be out here chasing people, and God said, "All right, Moses, use that motherfucking hydrokinesis and aerokinesis like we practiced," and he did it. You feel me? And the Red Sea parted. It was late because Pharaoh them was on their ass to the point they were right behind Moses them. But that didn't they? Better late than never, bitch. And that's God's motto. Better late than never. Okay. Then there is Jesus. Jesus was murdered. You can slice the pie as many ways as you want, but that nigga was murdered by the police, the temple police, and police brutality out here a long time ago. So Jesus is about to be killed. These people are beating Jesus. They're spitting on Jesus. I mean, they're doing all types of disgusting shit. And finally, they nail him to a cross and crucify him for no reason. Like literally, no reason. You have to read the New Testament. You won't even believe, you know. And the whole time, God could have showed up when they were whooping his ass. God could have showed up when they was motherfucking spitting on him. God could have showed up when he was carrying the cross. God could have showed up when he was on the cross. God could have showed up when he was down the cross in the motherfucking tomb. But God allowed things to happen. We are being gang stalked. But what if we are actually going through a metamorphosis? When the caterpillar is in the cocoon, he doesn't think to himself, someday I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna be spreading my wings and flying away. All he thinks is this trap, this thing is tight, because the cocoon for the caterpillar is very tight. I can imagine, you know, and once that caterpillar goes through that metamorphosis, it kind of understands once it spreads the wings that why, you know, why I was in this very tight spot in tight space, and you know, sorry, it's just we're probably going through a metamorphosis. You know, that's why God is doing this because He allowed Jesus to be gang stalked. Because when you look at the way that Jesus was treated, they spread rumors about him that had nothing to do with nothing. They murdered the man for no reason. You know what I mean? They followed this man everywhere he went, was spreading disgusting rumors that he was a fucking demon prince, you know? And he was out here doing miracles. But that's what they do. But God showed up late too, because God never showed up to the crucifixion. He was watching, but he ain't come out from heaven and off the throne for his own son and say, "Hey, take him off." He let it happen. He watched on the throne. He was upset because there was thunder and lightning and earthquakes when Jesus died. Of course, he was upset, but he did not come down from his throne. He stayed where he was, or where he is, and 3 days later, Jesus showed up. Why did God allow Jesus to be murdered? Because Jesus was not really being murdered, but he was going through a metamorphosis. And he came back and he taught for a while. I think it was like 13 months or something like that, maybe like 3 years, And he wanted to go. But the thing was, the disciples, they kept kind of like saying, oh, we don't want you to go. And I think I think I read this in the Aquifer or the Lost Bible. I'm not sure what book it was, but Jesus wanted to go home, the real home, heaven home. And he was saying, I miss home, and you guys keep saying that you miss me and you don't want me to go, you want the teacher to stay, but I miss my home too, you know so Jesus, he came back. And after that, you never hear any more stories about them gang stalking them, because, bitch, what you gonna do? We done murdered your ass, and, bitch, here you is before us. What else can we do? We can't do nothing more than kill you, and you done came back. So now, what else can we do? Leave you alone. Okay? And that's the same thing with us. We are being gang stalked, but we're also in a metamorphosis of changing. Um, what else? God doesn't like people motherfucking keep tracking on him. Um, um, that's pretty much it. Yeah. So those are three different instances where God comes late. That's his signature. Like I said, if you're gonna take time to look at patterns in your life, in your gang stalking, and within the gang stalkers, look at the patterns of God. He has always came late, always. But God ain't never gonna let people like these people get away with this. If that was the case, we'll still be in Nazi Germany, which we technically are, and we would still be, under the Roman Empire, which we technically are, or we would still be under Alexander the Great, which we definitely are not. Okay, the whole point is, this is what he does. He been crushed down kingdoms and governments forever. Since the government been established, this is the one who's been tearing down kingdoms and governments. It was God all along. Okay, and now we have him here. The thing is, these people are terrible. They're terrible, and things are happening to them now, but they're happening at a slow motion. They're not happening at a slow motion because, like, God is like slow. Like I said, there is no such thing as time to God. He only invented it for us. Okay? And not only that, God is, he doesn't really want to kill all the gang stalkers. Some of them are not gang stalking because they are pagans and all this kind of stuff. They're scared. These people, it don't matter who you are. Once they come into contact with you, if you're a target individual and you're at a job and no one at the job is a gang stalker, they will reach out to those people personally and they will bribe them in order to be nasty to you. And if they don't, they will do bad things to those people. So with the people like that who are gang stalking out of fear, there's a small possibility that they can be saved. I'm not trying to say they ain't gonna get punished, because they definitely are. But when I say they can be saved, I mean, like, they have a small possibility that they can be redeemed. I do not wish to redeem them, but it is God, because God does not wish to be the God of the dirt. God is the God of the people, of the living, and we are living. And He, everybody's His children. He don't wish to kill kids and his, you know, prodigy or progeny. But the thing is, He has no choice. If He did it with the beginning of the world, gotta do it again. Shit, ain't nothing but 2022 years later. So what? Just saying. Um, but yeah, just because you see things kind of like slow, don't say like things are not going. Things are going, but they are just slow. Any person with eyes could see that there's something happening to these targeted individuals. There's something happening to the government. There's something happening to the FBI, CIA, NSA, or whoever the fuck they are, the police department, the justice department, the politicians. There are things happening to them, and you see it. But just because it's a slow moving curse does not mean that it's not happening. It doesn't matter whether these people die today or they die tomorrow or they die next year or they die the year after that. The whole point is they're gonna get what's coming to them. No matter how long it takes, it's gonna catch up. Long catch, short run. It always catches up. You understand? It always catches up. God is doing a great job. The thing is that God spoke to me. He said, "Listen, He didn't even really speak to me, but He was like, if you feel like you want to do other things while you're waiting for me, you can do it." And I kind of like appreciate it because you're not like constantly, you know, giving me like, pressuring me to do something, but you're just chilling and you know that I'm going to come through with what I said I'm going to do. And that's how it is. You know what I'm finna do? These people, they think I'm going to go to the courthouse, the same courthouse that before I even stepped my foot in the courthouse, they already knew what was going on. Why would you go back to the courthouse? I might go back to work, but I don't think I should go back to court or any of that stuff because the thing is that I did the right thing. The judge already knew this man was raping my child to the point that I have videos of these people making fun of my children for being molested. I'm not going back to no courthouse, and I ain't going back to the Justice Department or system. I would rather see this world melted like fucking copper. I love my kids to death. But while I'm waiting, because I'm gonna wait, while I'm waiting on God to annihilate these people, I'm gonna just, focus on me because that's something that I've never done. I mean, I was talking to my boss and I told him like I've never been, by myself before. Literally, I've been by I've never been myself. Every other time I've been by myself, I felt like I'm lonely. So let me go out there and look for a friend. Let me go out there and look for some company. I could never just hang out by myself. And now, like this time around at 32, I do it by myself all the time, and I don't really give a fuck. And I prefer, being by myself anyway. You know, and that's how it is. I'm gonna just focus on myself, trying to see if I could get this money, because I'm gonna be focusing on money. You got two things. You're gonna be focusing on a relationship or you're gonna be focusing on money. I'd rather be focusing on money. Now I ain't trying to say money my God, because God is God. Money is the God of the gang stalkers. They worship money. They need money. Money is not oxygen. Money is not blood. Money is not, you know, organs or health. Money is just a tool. You know what I'm saying? It's just a tool. If you want to take apart a certain piece of furniture, you might have to use a screwdriver. You need the tool in order to do the job. You know what I'm saying? The same thing. You need this tool. You need money in order to get what you want. You need the tool. Okay? And I'm just going to try to work on excuse me. I'm just going to try to work on you know I will try to just work on my money. Um I don't know, work on getting a nice decent place. because I do want my children, and just work on trying to do something. But I don't want to rush God because He's the author of this book. And I don't know if you ever read a Rush story, but anyone who watched Game of Thrones know what a rushed story looks like. You watch all those seasons of Game of Thrones, and it was always well put together. But the last season was rushed. It was just thrown together, and everybody hated it. And when you rush God, that's what you're gonna get. The last season of motherfucking Game of Thrones. Okay? You have to just let Him do Him, and just forget it. That's what we must do as targeted individuals. That is the secret. We have to forget that we are targeted individuals, that we are being gang stalked. You know you're being gang stalked, but you have to forget in a sense, small sense. You forget because, like, when you see red, when you see blue, when you see certain little things, you don't get bothered by it anymore. You have to train yourself. If these people can train you to be sensitized to colors and certain little shit, then you yourself can train your own mind in order to not be reacting to it. We must retrain ourselves in order to not react from anything that these stupid idiot people do. Okay? And once you do that, you kind of like just move along with yourself. You know these people are gang stalkers. You know what to do. You know what not to do. You know how to talk. You know how to move. Everything like that. But you're also waiting. Like I said, you're not just saying, "Well, I'm gonna just forgive these people after all the stuff they did to me." No, what you're doing is just you pretty much are giving it to God. I'm not telling you what these people tell you because they tell you the same thing. Oh, get on your knees, turn the other cheek. What I told you was put curses on these bitches. You put curses on them. What do you think should happen to them? You write those curses down and you save that fucking paper somewhere. And every time something happens, you go get that paper and then you cross it out. And you say, God, we got one. You understand? Because, bitch, my list is long. I suggest you do your own list. Okay? But the list doesn't require that you're miserable. You could live on with your life. Because I'm living on with my life. And my list is still being checked off. I don't gotta be out here stressing and mad with these motherfuckers just for God to do stuff. He do it regardless. So if God do it regardless, then I'm gonna move on. When it's time for me to have my kids, I'm gonna have my kids. But I'm not gonna get them. Because I'm not the one who took them. I'm not the one who raped them. Going back to work, that's one thing. Workplace mom. But the thing they did with my kids, like I said, I will keep saying it over and over. That is not something that you can just let bygones be bygones. Children are children. The only thing a child should be worrying about is motherfucking Paw Patrol and motherfucking Blue's Clues. They got my son out here sucking a grown motherfucking man dick and getting fucked in his ass, and I'm 100% sure he's raping my little daughter. Probably making my daughter suck his dick, and he's fucking my little daughter too. The United States of America's government, and not only just the United States government, these gang stalkers. I tell you, the girl from my job, I thought she was a gang stalker too. And she is. Not like maybe, but 100% sure. But the thing about her is she got to get drunk. You see? So this girl was drunk one day, and I was downstairs kind of like smoking. And she just comes out of sight of nowhere. I had been at this hotel for about a week, and she never does that. She's like always in her room or whatever the case. But she came outside specifically to look for me for some reason. She didn't see me. She didn't hear me because I don't talk. But she came out looking for me near the smoking area. This girl had no shoes on, and she had on some blue coochie cutter shorts. It had to be blue. And they looked like they were freshly brought from Walmart. Because anybody could tell freshly bought clothes. And this girl, she kept trying to touch her booty and gesture towards the booty to make fun of myself for being molested. But here's the gag. I think 2 or 3 days before, I told her that my son was molested. You see, you don't tell people stuff like that just so they could do that. But you tell them to see who they are. I always had the power to end this girl. Do you know that? Always. And when I say end, I mean end. I mean end. And not only me, but God don't like her either. And I don't know why God don't like her, but I mean God really don't like her. and this girl tried to motherfucking gang stalk me. Then she had her homegirl over with the homegirl boyfriend, and you could tell when they be like kind of sort of like gang stalking, trying to like give you the little looks and the little laughs towards you, whatever the case is. I knew to avoid the situation. I was nice and cordial, but I knew not to indulge, not to go hang out with them, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? There was a white woman by the pool around that time. She was a white woman. She had on blue jeans, white polo shirt, blonde hair, glasses. Older lady, mid 40s, early 50s. She was at the pool when me and this girl was there. When the girl and her friend and the boyfriend was there gang stalking, the lady was there too. But she was not there just chilling by the pool. But she was there as a handler, you see? Because I noticed a lot of things. Watch your lives because they speak subliminally in the lives. Yesterday, I was listening to a live and this guy named Eliakim, whatever his name is, which I believe he definitely is a perp. He was saying he's not a perp, but I was on his live before and I heard him kind of like saying subliminal things. He told me to speak up, and it sounded like he was trying to say to me. But the thing is, you can't be. Yeah, you could be coughing. So what? I'm touching my eye. I'm a cough, and y'all know I had a cold. Goddamn well. That's not the point. Everybody could cough. Everybody could, rub their eyes and stuff. Subliminal messages. Everybody can't do that. Everybody don't know that you had a motherfucking turkey club for lunch. Everybody don't know that you wiped your ass with a piece of fucking tissue that had a piece of red fucking nail polish on there. Everybody don't know that you stepped on dog doodle on Tuesday. But the gang stalkers know. And if you on somebody motherfucking live and they shit talking about like shit that happened to you, coincidentally, back to back to back to back to back, that motherfucker hurt. Like I said, gang stalkers don't up front say what they want to say. They always do subliminal messages because that is their language. You must learn to speak subliminal. You must learn to speak sarcasm. You must learn to speak passive aggressive because that is their language. They never outright say shit. They always subliminally say shit. You know what I'm saying? So the lady turned the girl into a perp. And I knew the girl was gonna be a perp because she might have been like kind of sort of a gang stalker. But here's what kind of like I said, when you see people say certain things, you gotta watch them. When you see somebody say God ain't real, I give up on God, this gang stalking shit, I'll do whatever it takes to end it. That's a motherfucker who's gonna perp you out. And the girl, I remember one day she said, I don't care who I gotta betray. If they gonna give me $50,000, I might do it. And she was like, shit, if I gotta betray my sister for $50,000, I'll do it. And I like heard her say that. I'm like, wow. And then she gang stalked me after I told her that my son was being molested, and she did the little booty thing. This girl got 3 kids. If I got 3 kids, I wouldn't be out here making fun of people's kids for being molested, because God knows tomorrow God could kill all 3 of your kids. You don't know how petty God is, and it ain't about being petty. But God could give and God could take. That's why I don't fuck around with people. Because that girl, she been gang stalking me from a long time. And look at her now. This girl literally out here struggling. That girl literally like a bum. When I say a bum, a bum. Like yesterday I was excuse me. Yesterday I was chilling, and I'll tell you I got the second job. Yesterday was my interview. When I came back, I had got my charger from her because when she was gang stalking, she asked me for my chargers for her friend to hold, and she like, I'll hold it for an hour, and that bitch held it for a long time. And she wanna call me at 10 o'clock when I'm about to go to sleep. I was like, oh, you wanna come get the charger, bitch? No, I'm not. I'll see it tomorrow. So I got it, and she knew I had the interview. And this is the thing about how the gang stalking was. She thought she was finna just be over here, motherfucking, making fun of my son. But that's okay, because God already told me what she was finna do. So we said, tell her that you got an interview and rub it in her face. And I'm like, hey girl, you know I have an interview. And as soon as I said I have an interview, that girl left immediately. So then I went upstairs, got something to eat, came back down, and she was with her little friends or whatever. And I kind of seen the friend give me a little side eye, shit like that. But and then she kept trying to make it seem like I'm acting weird. This hoe was drunk. When I say drunk, she was drunk. She was sweating. That kind of drunk when you sweating and shit. She was drunk. She was slurring her words. Bitch could barely even walk. You understand what I'm saying? And the girl at my job that she had fought, the one thing the girl told me was you need to watch yourself with her, because number one, she's crazy, and number two, when she gets drunk, she act different. That's number one that she told me. Okay, because and not only that, when I met the girl yesterday, I was telling her that I had got the job and that I'm starting. So I got, and one, she didn't ask any questions, and she was gang stalking. One thing that I know that gang stalkers do is whenever they use their children. So if they're in a situation that they don't want to be in, they'll start yelling at their children, or they'll start allowing the child to kind of like cry a lot, just because they kind of like want to annoy the person and make them go away. So me and the girl, and one of the girl's a hoe. When I say she's a hoe, she's a hoe. I mean, I was a hoe, so I would know a hoe. So she definitely is a hoe. The girl, every time we see guys, she always want to be talking to guys and shit like that. She's terrible at talking to guys, and she looks desperate. But I could school you how to look like money. So these two white guys come up to us because they always doing this little gang stalking theater shit for me, and they come out there, the police out there, they got stretchers out on somebody that bitch. I ain't look one time. All I saw was the police. I ain't see no stretcher. I ain't see nobody. I ain't see nothing. Because I already know y'all doing theater. And bitch, I'm not buying it. Sell it to your mama, ho. You understand? So me and the girl there. And then these white gang stalkers come up. And one of them is a heroin addict. And the other one is something else. One Puerto Rican, one American. And they're friends. And they're talking to me and her or whatever. And she's like, "Excuse me, can I have a cigarette?" You know the whole, I'm a gang stalker and I need a cigarette bit. So that's why she asked for a cigarette. Because I ain't never met a person who was gang stalking that didn't spontaneously ask for a cigarette. Like I said, I wasn't sure if she was a gang stalker. But they say keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And I do exactly that. So the girl, we talking and she's unbelieving this shit. And all of a sudden she just storms and she's like, "I gotta go." She goes inside. And right when we come inside her hotel room, because the little son is crying, she does some, "Oh, girl, you got weed?" Like, she acts like an attitude. Not even with an attitude, but with privilege. Not even with privilege, but like, you know what I mean? Entitlement. How this girl is a user. She's a bum bitch. You understand? Bitch, you can't even buy your own weed. Bitch, you gotta be bumming weed off bitches. You got 3 motherfucking kids bumming weed and you're alcoholic, bitch. Get your shit together. You understand what I'm saying? This so crazy. And not only is you alcoholic, you a bumming ass weed, alcoholic, deadbeat mama ass motherfucking hoe. And you a gang stalker. Girl, you ain't got no shame. Okay. So the girl definitely was a gang stalker trying to motherfucking come for me. But then bitch, you gang stalking. You got 3 motherfucking kids. You ain't got nowhere to go. Nobody want to help your ass. You ain't got no job. Bitch, what you doing? You understand what I'm saying? Um. So yeah, the crazy girl is a perp. She turned perp uh to get whatever she wants to get, and I got her good by rubbing it in. That I got a new job in her face. Just I just wanted to see her fucking squirm just a little bit. Just like, I didn't do too much though. I did it like just right because she's a bitch. You know what I mean? I was nice to this girl. I never was nasty to her, and like, she was a bitch. And not only that, this girl, she's like, she don't even know she's so screwed. Number one, she's loud. When I say loud, she's extremely loud, and no one tells her. Not even me. At work, she used to be talking all the time, loud, 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 loud. Okay, like, let me give you an example. Me and my boss, we be talking about stuff sometimes. When I see a motherfucker come in the room, obviously you know to stop talking. This girl does not know when to stop talking. You understand? She doesn't know that there are certain subjects that you can and cannot talk about. She will keep going no matter who walks in. You know? She's loud, she's ghetto, she's fucking obnoxious as fucking fuck, you know? And yeah, just this girl's she's a fucking bitch. But I stick to myself. I ain't got no motherfucking friends. I ain't got no motherfucking man. The only thing I'm thinking about is my motherfucking kids. I ain't gonna go get them because I'm a screenshot I don't think I could screenshot because when I do those screenshots, man, that should be making a video take a million years. But I think I'll do like a very short video of my ex. I asked this man how my children are doing, and like you have to see this man's response. You understand? And they, like I said, the United States government, this is their doing. This is not like just like this. The government is the one sanctioning this man to do this. But let me tell you the truth. This man don't know he done fucked up, and the government don't know they fucked up too. You see? Here it is. You got two people. They say you can't keep a secret. You can keep a secret if one is dead. You got one man who's a pedophile rapist who raped his children and framed his wife, and she's being gang stalked because of him. Then you got the government that allowed it. This man can never go against the government because they let him get away with this. And if at any moment they wanted to, they can just snitch and he'll be in jail. And same thing with the government. At any day, if they ever felt like they was gonna fuck with him and he just was tired of it, he could just, come out with all the evidence and say, yeah, I did rape my fucking son, and they did tell me to da 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 da. Because this ain't one of those two can keep a secret. Because let me tell you something about my ex. This nigga can't hold motherfucking water at all. Something gonna happen. It's not even something gonna happen. It's the way that the cards are dealt. When you watch the news and you see people who are serial killers, murderers, rapists, and things like that, them people were gang stalkers. Them scammers, they were gang stalkers. Them rapists and serial killers, they were gang stalkers. And what they do is, whenever they need a big story, they go back in the gang stalking archive and they pick your ass. The same gang stalker that was gang stalking with them is the same one that they gonna throw under the bus. And this is what you sign up for. And when the judge and the jury and everybody else is a part of them, who are you going to tell your story to? Nobody. That's why you got to wait. Right now, everything looks good. But all you have to do is wait. Time. Time is very important. Time is a good teacher. Time is a good lesson maker. Time is a good everything. Because the only thing that we as targeted individuals need is time. That's it. Just give God some time. I would say give it 1 to 5 years. But not just 1 to 5 years of you being gang stalked, but 1 to 5 years of you getting to know God and seeing his majestic work and seeing his majestic hand, seeing him get out here and do these things to these gang stalkers. It might not even be 5 years. But from what I know based on the patterns of God, the most it takes 5 years, the less, sometimes it could take less than that. And to be honest with you, you're already been 1 year. So it could be about 4 years, it could be 1 year. I don't know. But God's got our back. We don't need to be out here mad and all this kind of stuff every single day. You want to show proof is good because the proof is showing us the patterns. But do not get upset because God is already doing things in our favor. And these people will pay. And I'm going to tell you one more time the promise that God told me for all of you targeted individuals. We are going to be rich. Not the fake targeted individuals that are perps too. Because all those targeted individuals that sold out and perped out, these people have a record of who it is. They have a record of who they be paying under the table. They have a record of who they made perp out. They have a record of everything. You ain't gonna get $1 and not a 15 cent. It don't matter what they did to you to make you do it. You ain't gonna get $1. I'm just letting you know. Now for you and me, the ones that are being severely gang stalked, and situations like my children being raped and molested, and the government making people follow me to make fun of my child for being molested and all this kind of stuff, I'm gonna get paid billions of dollars. Okay, and you will too. We are going to be paid. God told me it's gonna be bigger than the motherfucking Central Park 5 paid, dog. God said we're gonna be rich. You understand what I'm saying? Rich. Never have to worry about shit no more. Ever. Unless, you used to blow your money, but I doubt we do that. God said we're going to be celebrities. God said that we're gonna have like a lot of interviews. People are gonna want to know our stories, how we survived, how we were able to stay sane. You know, we're gonna have movies, we're gonna have books, we're gonna do fucking talk shows and interviews and tours and have these big fucking retreats for all the targeted individuals once a year and shit. Like the things he's told me, I believe. That is the promise that is for you as a targeted individual. I have my promise as a mom who has experienced this gang stalking program, but you have a promise yourself as a targeted individual and as a gang stalking victim, as an enlightened one, and as a Christ conscious child of God. You have your own promise from God for yourself. But this one is a promise as a collective for all of us. The end is here. It's not even the end is near, but the end is here. These people will pay, and you who are watching this, your eyes will live to see the day that a tsunami higher than the highest fucking high rise in the United States comes here in the state of Florida and on the East Coast, and it wipes this bitch out. Okay, now that's an impossible thing to do, but it will happen. Not only will that happen, but hurricanes will batter Florida to fucking death. Florida ain't gonna have no motherfucking chance. They're gonna be hurricane after hurricane after hurricane after hurricane. Florida barely gonna have power. Florida barely gonna have food. Florida barely gonna have water. Florida's gonna be in chaos. Okay, that's what God told me. Then the kids. That's something I don't talk about. You hear me talk about literally sometimes, but not all the time. One of the biggest things is the children. God's signature move is to kill the kids. And God never do the same thing twice, and you know goddamn well God don't do the same thing twice. God's a new God, same God, but he like new tricks sometimes. You know, he like the surprise. With Moses and Pharaoh, he killed only the firstborn child, and you needed to have the blood of a lamb on your door so that the angel of death can pass your house. Now we're in the 21st century, and the lamb was Jesus Christ. And we both know there's absolutely no way that these people have access to the Lamb of God or the blood of Christ. They say it with their mouth. But if Jesus said they gonna tell me, Lord, Lord, you prophesied in my name, and he gonna say, get away from me, I do not know you, then you better believe this angel of death going to these motherfuckers' house. And let me tell you a funny story. 2 days ago, this young man, his name is the grandson of Right Thought. He is a gang stalking victim. He's a targeted individual, and his preaching is good. Another thing I want to say is I find myself listening to preachings from people on YouTube. I don't really watch TD Jakes, Joel Osteen, and Ron Carpenter, and all those people no more, because the thing is, you know that they're a part of the beast system. Yeah, they preaching about God, but they ain't preaching about God, and they just out here for the money, you know, and they just out here to control the people. But they don't give a fuck about God, and they don't give a fuck about your soul. So I don't watch them niggas no more, because them niggas ain't telling me something that's gonna help my soul to grow. They just telling me what the government told them to say. So I watched this guy named Grandson of Right Thought. I watched this other guy named Big Boss, Eliakim. Like I said, to me, I think the nigga a perk. But his message is be good though. And I watched different people. And the guy, Grandson of Right Thought, he had a message called the Angel of Death, because the Angel of Death was the one that came and killed the kids. Now I don't know if you see, but it's coronavirus and monkeypox out here, and God knows what else. And they keep pushing the motherfucking vaccine on these kids. I ain't gonna say nothing else. Anyways, that's just something that God had put on me to say to you guys, that yeah, you might be taking a little bit, but the thing is, to God, there's no such thing as time, and y'all need to just relax. You feel me? Y'all's been being gangstalk. Y'all's gonna be gangstalk. Just relax. Do the curses and just believe that God gonna do what he gonna do. You feel me? But yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess I'll get out of here. But God told me a whole bunch of things for to happen, and I done named like three things. Now let me ask you something. While you're here, and you have to answer this question correctly. Tsunami, battered hurricanes, children of the gang stalkers and the gang stalkers, and America loses the war. Those four things. It's supposed to snow in Florida, but that ain't that important. Whenever it snows, it snows. And technically, it do snow, but it snows in northern Florida. But it's supposed to snow in South Florida. But whenever that happens, that's fine. But those four things are the main things that are going to happen. Now, when you, as a targeted individual that watch my video, I ain't no big time billion dollar YouTube star. I'm just a lowly old child of God who has consciousness and has access to, the Holy Spirit. And, they tell me things, the future, and things that are going to happen. And I tell it to you guys because the thing is that it's to make you believe. That's why I follow. I follow because I had heard this voice and I didn't listen to it. And if I had listened to it, I would not be where I am at this very second. But I'm happy that I did end up here because now I know who the voice is. And, I would never neglect to listen to it. I always listen to it. No matter how crazy the command is, I listen. And it's the same thing for you. You as a targeted individual, you are watching my videos, and some of you sometimes are very encouraged, and sometimes you might be discouraged. You're saying to yourself, man, this is taking a long time, and this is happening to me, or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I tell you these promises. This is the end. These people are gonna lose this war. Their children are gonna pay for what they did. Not only that, you have to consent. These people have rules. That's why they do the little subliminal shit. Because when it comes to spiritual warfare, you can't just do things to people. You have to tell them. They have to consent. And you consented to being gang stalked. And you consented to many things, but you did not know it because they did not tell you up front. Boom, this is what this is. What they did was they did the subliminal talk on you. And you fell into this trap. I'm trying to make this fast because I cannot make this go too long. But the whole thing is,